Incorporated, the National Board of Directors, our past presidents, officers and members of the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, civil engineering students who I understand are also here to attend this convention. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, good morning. First of all, allow me to congratulate all the civil engineers here in this hall, both the full-fledged civil engineers as well as our future and aspiring civil engineers, the civil engineering students. And congratulations on this your double win, or double feature in this year's National Convention. First, the celebration of the National Civil Engineering Month this month of November, and secondly, a brand of sorts to the 40th anniversary of the founding of the PICE. Congratulations to everyone. Allow me to share my thoughts about this year's theme, Civil Engineering for a Sustainable Future, from the point of view of a legislator, policymaker, former local chief executive, and perhaps with some of my economist training. This year's theme alludes to the phrase sustainable future, which I believe is inspired by the principle of sustainable development formulated and advocated by the United Nations since 1987. Sustainable development has been defined as a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Crucial in avoiding the principle is the recognition that the environment and the development of nations are inseparable. According to the UN, economic development and social development and environmental protection are the interdependent and mutually reinforcing pillars of sustainable development. In 2000, as part and member of the United Nations, the Philippines has accepted and ratified the UN Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs, of which there are 8. Goal number 7 is to ensure environmental sustainability, which necessitates the integration of the principles of sustainable development in the formulation of national policies and programs at the member nations. The milestone targets under this goal are significant reduction in loss of biodiversity and environmental resources by the year 2010, significant improvement of water sanitation by 2015, and significant improvement of the lives of slum dwellers by 2020. The importance of working towards attaining this particular Millennium Development Goal is all the more highlighted by the fact that we, as a single community of nations and a single human race, are currently experiencing the tangible worldwide threats and ill effects of global warming and climate change. Lalo-lalo na siguro tayo dito sa Pilipinas, ramdam natin sa tuloy-tuloy at nangingin ng bagyo na dumarating na rin sa atin sa Pilipinas. The important role of civil engineering in achieving this MDG and its milestone targets cannot be overemphasized. The role and function of civil engineering in society pervade virtually all aspects of our daily lives, from the hospitals where we are born, to the homes where we are raised and where we live, to the buildings where we work or where we unwind, to the roads, bridges, railways, and waterways that we traverse and utilize, and up to our very graves. We can see the intellectual imprint and the indelible imprimatur of the civil engineer. Simply put, in the background of our great human civilization, the civil engineer cuts a very imposing and indispensable figure. As the popular tagline of the civil engineering profession goes, civil engineering is all about people. After all, this was the reason why the concept of civil engineering was coined precisely in order to distinguish it from military emphasizes the role of civil engineering in society and by the infrastructure, which are the brainchildren and which is what you can consider your map of hope. These infrastructures, both public and private, without question, are critical to our national economic development. They are the sinews of our national progress and development. According to the eminent Filipino economist Jerry Sikat, who was the first Director General of NEDA, without the appropriate infrastructure in the country, national development would be choked. He noted that foreign investors consider the state of public infrastructure when they decide to invest in a given country. Moreover, he said that with advanced planning in infrastructure, we can ease the development process by facilitating the growth of production, trade, and commerce. This brings us to the appropriate response that is expected from the government, which response is just as critical. On the one hand, the government should plan and backbone public infrastructure development in a timely and adequate fashion in accordance with its national development plans and goals. On the other hand, it should guide, regulate, rationalize private infrastructure development and attune them to its own national economic development policies and plans. My father, President Ferdinand Marcos, clearly recognized the importance of public infrastructure in the process of our country. During his term of office, he embarked on a massive public infrastructure development that, in my opinion, remains unparalleled to this day. Dr. Sikat confirms that most of the infrastructure investments in the country in the past were made during the administration of my father. And these investments include and extend from road building, airport construction, irrigation expansion, and up to rural electrification. However, we as a nation and as an economy have still a lot of catching up to do. According to Dr. Davao, the president of the Philippine Institute of Development Studies, the World Bank noted that infrastructure development in the Philippines has not kept pace with the country's high population growth and rapid urbanization, with serious consequences for the country's competitiveness, and in particular for its growth and poverty reduction targets, including MDG. He added that the country has underinvested in infrastructure at around 2% of gross domestic product, an average in contrast to 5% norm for other ASEAN countries. He continued that poor and inadequate infrastructure has also been a reason for the lack of attractiveness of the country as an investment destination, and it also has become a significant growth constraint because of the lack of foreign direct investment. The present administration should properly address this urgent concern by consistently investing a significant portion of the national budget on public infrastructure development. This coming fiscal year, the proposed budget we are presented with for public works is 12% of the national budget. I sincerely hope that this substantial budgetary allocation will continue for the foreseeable future. An important part of the planning and guidance of the government in public and private infrastructure development is the regulatory framework, including the building standards and specifications to be followed, which should likewise be in accordance with national development goals. As I have said, we have committed ourselves to the MDG of ensuring environmental sustainability. Hence, our regulatory framework in infrastructure development should properly integrate means and methods calculated to attain such goals. With the worsening effects of dwindling scarce environmental resources, global warming, and climate change, our government should start adopting laws, rules, and policies that will cause drastic changes for the better in our wasteful and profligate lifestyles and practices, and will promote adaptive techniques and mechanisms designed to lessen or mitigate the harmful and fatal effects draft of course. It is about time that we shut our business as usual mentality and our deep-rooted conventional wisdom, traditions and practices in planning, designing, and building our infrastructure projects, which have only proved to be wasteful, imprudent, inefficient, or excessive. One of the most common infrastructures are our buildings. Buildings are human-made structures that serve essential purposes for humankind: shelter, protection, and convenience. Unfortunately, studies have shown that in spite of the recognized beneficial purposes, these human shelters also simultaneously pose significant threats to the environment and to health. In particular, buildings directly or indirectly affect land use, energy use, water consumption, materials usage, waste production, outdoor and indoor air quality, amongst others. In fact, studies show that the building sector alone accounts for 30 to 40% of global energy usage and global greenhouse gas emissions. Thus, the building sector is indeed one of the areas with the biggest potential gains for having smarter environmental and economic strategies and applications. Left unchecked, our buildings could greatly contribute to the deterioration of our environment and far outweigh their intended benefits for mankind. Hence, there is an urgent need to make our buildings more sustainable. It was in recognition of our commitment to the Millennium Development Goals and in furtherance of my own personal advocacy that I filed Senate Bill number 410, the Philippine Green Building Bill. As I'm sure most of us know, green building is the practice of 1. Increasing the efficiency with which buildings and their sites use energy, water, and materials, and 2. Reducing building impacts on human health and environment through better site location, design, construction, operation, maintenance, and removal, the complete building life cycle. But it may be true that the green building movement had originated more or less during the energy crisis in the United States in the 1970s. Green building now considers other environmental impacts as they relate to sustainability. Thus, green building requires an integrated design approach recognizing the environmental, economic, and social aspects of building. With this bill, it is my intention to seek to attune the Philippines to the rising global standards in sustainable building and construction development by officially defining green building and by creating green building standards and rating systems and the National Green Building Committee that shall administer the rating system. We also seek to incentivize builders and owners by way of tax breaks and other non-fiscal benefits in exchange for the compliance with said green building standards. With the increasing public awareness about the effects of global warming and climate change, nations have begun to adopt comprehensive measures to counterbalance such ill effects. The development of national green building laws and regulations is one such method. Countries such as the US, UK, Asian nations such as Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, Thailand, and Vietnam have all developed their own green building regulations. Alongside the development of these laws, these countries have also implemented green building rating systems with which to gauge compliance by developers, contractors, and construction companies with the green building laws in force, such as the United States LEED, the UK's GREEN, Australia's Green Star, Japan's CASPI, Singapore's Green Mark, Hong Kong's B, plus Thailand's TRIS, and Vietnam's Lotus. Unfortunately, even in the face of this tremendous global issue of climate change and global warming, we in the Philippines are still not officially adopted and enforced our own green building standards and rating system. after Singapore's green mark rating system, which he says is a tropicalized version of the United States green rating system, which might work in our country. On an important note, as your very own Dr. Benito Pacheco, Vice Chancellor of the University of the Philippines and Chair of the DPW's Board of Consultants, as someone suggested in the recent Green Building Forum, the element of sustainability in green building should be both prescription-based but also performance-based, meaning that aside from being resource efficient, our buildings should also prove themselves to be tough and resilient even in the face of the environmental onslaughts that visit our country. However, even before our Congress can enact a green building code and rating system for the Philippines, we may already take it upon ourselves to start rethinking and remodeling our traditional building methods and practices in ways that will make our infrastructure both environmentally sustainable and environmentally resilient. This is all the more true considering the training problems, the lack of adequate infrastructure, and the threat of climate change. The need for rethinking our infrastructure methods and practices is confirmed by no less than the DNR in its 2010 to 2022 Philippine Strategy on Climate Change and Adaptation. Let me quote Prince Charles of England in his address to the British civil engineers last year, when he said that it was high time that the notion and the practice of civil engineering is time that it underwent a paradigm shift. He said that since 1828, civil engineering in England had been defined as the art of directing the great sources of power in nature for the use and convenience of man. However, he said that civil engineering should no longer be focused on directing the great sources of power in nature, but rather should focus on understanding these powers properly so that we can work according to their underlying patterns of behavior without losing the art form of the discipline in the process. Our definition of civil engineering under RA 544 may not be as artful or as poetic as the English definition, but we can definitely relate to the experience and lessons of our English counterparts. After all, we all have universal needs and wants as a human race. We live in the same planet and deal in the same forces of Mother Nature. Having perused the code of ethics of Filipino civil engineers, I breathe a sigh of relief, confident that our artful and skillful civil engineers have been and are continually sworn into the profession not to be mere builders, but rather to use their knowledge and skill for the enhancement of human welfare and the environment, and to hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public, and shall strive to comply with the principles of sustainable development in the performance of their duties. In that, I look forward to being of further service to the civil engineering profession. I am aware of the two pending bills seeking to amend Republic Act 544 or the Philippine Civil Engineering Law, which bills still await deliberation in the committee's level. I am also aware about the continuing conflicts and confusion in the functional nuances between the civil engineers and the architectural profession. I am ready to work with you on these legislative concerns. My office in the Senate is always open. Never mind the additional jokes about civil engineers and architects. Sabi nila, ang arkitekto daw, magdudlowing lang na mga mahihirap na design. Tapos, ipapasa sa mga civil engineer para problemahin na lang nila kung mapapakita tayo. But there is no reason to be in conflict with one another. Anyway, under Article 7 1923 of the new civil code, the civil engineer and the architect who drew up the plans and specifications will be both liable for damages if the building collapses due to defects within 15 years of completion. So in that way, we see again that misery loves company. Joking aside, indeed it means no elaboration that civil engineers and architects are effective partners in attaining the blended development goals of ensuring environmental sustainability in our infrastructure. Again, I thank you all very much for having me here. It is such an honor to address you all in this very vibrant and cohesive organization. I congratulate each and everyone on the occasion of the National Civil Engineering Month, as well as its national convention. Mabuhay ang mga inhinyero sibil ng Pilipinas, mabuhay ang Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, mabuhay ang mga nangarap ang inhinyero sibil ng Pilipinas, mabuhay ang Pilipinas lahat. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo.
We would like to request our keynote speaker to be on the center. Once again, we would like to